Welcome back to yet another edition of the 380 ACP Ammo Quest, where I'm looking for the best performing ammo from a tiny pocket pistol with a 2.8-inch barrel. And long ago, I posted my final results, and then I just keep testing. So I've learned my lesson: never call any video your final. And I had to reopen the 380 Ammo Quest because DoubleTap Defense has introduced a bullet that they call the 95 grain controlled expansion, which is specifically designed for the small pocket pistols. By having controlled expansion, by limiting the size that the bullet expands to, it may penetrate deep enough to give us the results we're looking for. Because in testing in professional ballistic gelatin, with and without 4 layers of heavy denim, we're trying to find bullets that will go a minimum of 12 inches and a maximum of 18 inches. Those are the penetration depths that the doctors and the researchers and the forensic pathologists and the coroners and the medical examiners, combat surgeons who have studied bullet performance in living people. They've then gone and found out that, a bullet that is effective against a human in ballistic gel goes usually between 12 to 18 inches. So that's what we're looking for. It's a tall task to ask from a little tiny pocket pistol, but we have found some rounds that can do it. And I'm optimistic that, DoubleTap is an inventive company. They make some interesting rounds, and maybe they're onto it with this one. They say that this bullet is their own design. They're not just reloading somebody else's bullet. I hope I have that right. I believe I've read that. And I haven't seen a bullet like this. What concerns me, it has a little tiny hollow point, which is fine if it works, if it doesn't get clogged up. But if it gets clogged up, that's not good. And that's what the Denim test is all about. This is never, ever going to be a realistic simulation of what people actually wear. The Denim test is designed to be a worst-case scenario to test the limits of bullet performance. Because if it works properly through bare gel and through denim cover gel, then it'll work anywhere in between. So that's what we really test for. So let's head to the range and find out how this DoubleTap bullet, designed specifically by DoubleTap for these little 380s, let's find out how this actually performs. Wow, check this out. This is... Okay, look, I haven't been able to dig into the block yet. I don't know how the expanded bullets look, but as far as penetration goes, this is one of the best penetrating rounds we've had from a 380. Shortest bullet at 13.5 for an expanded hollow point. That's the shortest one. Next one's 14.5. 2 at 16.5. And then one that's just barely over our limit, 18.5. I mean, that's in the, I can forgive it. 4 great rounds and one that's just barely over. These are kind of fantastic. So I'm really impressed. Let's get on to the Denim and see how they did there. Through the Denim, the results are, well, they're not good. I should call them not good, but then again, they ain't bad. They're just not what we like to see. So we only had one bullet that actually expanded, and that one stopped at 14 inches, and it also suffered jacket separation. The jacket stopped way back here, and the core continued on to here. Then we had another bullet that stopped at a good distance, which is 14.25 inches, but looking through the block, it looks like it didn't expand at all. It looks like it plugged up with denim. Remember, our cutoff is 18 inches, so we had one go to 19.25, one at 21.75, and one at 22.5. Looks like all 3 of them failed to expand. For those who are wondering why I don't just, totally rag on these bullets for having not performed to quote-unquote proper specifications, look at damage tracks. The damage tracks are kind of huge for a 380. I mean, really. Look at this damage track here from a 380 bullet. Look how deep that is that's happening. That's impressive. It may not perform, strictly to FBI specifications. It may have exhibited the classic jacket separation or clogging or whatever, but what it damaged in the block and deep in the block looks pretty damaging. I would think that this could still be a very effective round whether it clogged or not. It looks like when it clogged, it tumbled nastily, and that looks rough. So yeah, they may not be perfect, but I'm still kind of impressed with what I see. This is 8 inches into the gel block. Take a look at a couple of these damage tracks. All right, so at 8 inches, to be doing this kind of damage, that's no joke. This one, not so much. That's what we expect from any FMJ. It looks like that's 2 bullets overlapping. One came through here, one came through here. So that is a decent damage track. That is a huge damage track. And that's not bad. So as a 380 goes, you know, the ability to do something like this as deep as 8 inches in, that's really impressive. I gotta say, I would not want to be shot by these. The bare gel, they all penetrated wonderfully, and they all expanded to a comparatively huge size for a little 380. They all look like they're threatening to separate the core from the jacket, but they didn't. They all stayed together, and they all ended up looking really, really good. I'm really very pleased with the bare performance. I mean, expanded hollow points going 16.5 inches, 18.5 inches when they're expanded. It's kind of phenomenal. The Denim let us down. Got 4 that did not expand at all. 2 of them you can still see the plugs of Denim are still in there. And then the 2 that did expand penetrated great. Did separate core from jacket. So not ideal. But let's look at the downsides, okay? In bare, no downsides. In Denim, may or may not expand. If they expand, they may separate. Compared to a full metal jacket, are we any worse off? No. These 4 that didn't expand are no worse than a full metal jacket would have been. They would have over-penetrated just like a full metal jacket would have. And the 2 that did expand, I think we're way better off than we would have been with an FMJ because they did penetrate deeply, they did expand, and even though they separated the core, the piece that continued further, the core that continued further, is still doing more damage than an FMJ would. So I think it's definitely better than an FMJ. But man, if they could just modify this design just a little bit, keep it from separating and maybe make a bigger hollow point or something to keep it from plugging up, they could have the perfect 380 bullet here. I wouldn't replace my Lehigh Extreme Penetrators or my XTP rounds with this yet. But if they revise this, man, I will definitely want to test that again and see how close they come. This was close. I mean, okay, you could look at the Denim results and say, no, it wasn't close at all. It plugged up. Yes, but the bare performance is better than any other hollow point I've ever tested from a 380. And I was going to say the recoil is stout. These are loaded. It doesn't say they're plus P. I don't believe they're plus P, but they punch. So these are loaded to the limit of the SAMI limit. So there's a lot of power behind these. They expanded big and beautifully in the bare gel. And the penetration was phenomenal. A fully expanded hollow point going 18 inches from a 380, and it expanded to a decently big size. That was really promising. Denim Performance didn't get the job done. I mean, now, to be fair, is it likely that whoever you're going to be defending yourself against is going to be wearing 4 layers of denim? Of course not. Like I said in the opening, that's not a realistic attempt to portray clothing. That is a worst case scenario. So in a more likely scenario, you know, a t-shirt, maybe a jacket, will they plug? I don't know. Maybe that's what DoubleTap was looking at. Maybe they got fantastic performance and they decided, you know what, maybe we're not going to pass the 4-layer denim test and maybe we don't care. I don't know. I'm making stuff up, but I'm just saying, it's a hell of a bullet. And it really was impressive. But we've had other bullets that don't plug in denim and that do penetrate nice and deep. These penetrated deeper, but these had a lot more recoil, so it might be easier to get a shot off with other bullets. But I'm conflicted. I'm conflicted because by my strict standards, I should say, nope, they plugged and they overpenetrated and therefore they're not acceptable. And for those who want to adhere to that, I'm going to say that's true. But I'm also going to say that anyone who got shot with these will stay shot with them. It's not like they underpenetrated like so many 380s did. That's one thing, that none of them underpenetrated at all. They all did great or overpenetrated. They're far better than FMJs. I was impressed with it. I would like to see if this truly is DoubleTap's own design. I'd love to see if they could do maybe a revision 2 to maybe address the Denim issue, maybe get it just a little more consistent, because this is a really good round. I don't know that it would be fair to the other rounds that I've tested to call it the winner, but it's really impressive in a 380. Definitely take a look at it, but be aware, it's got some bark. It definitely has some recoil. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed what you saw. If you did, hit the like button. And if you hit the subscribe button, you'll be notified next time a video is posted.